Y'all, I cannot. I really cannot. Like, I was gonna do like a in-depth discussion about the surviving R.Kelly documentary, but I just cannot. Like, it's just so many moving parts and stuff like that. And you have to like write shit down and all that. And I got a lot going on, so I just can't do all that. So I'm just going to basically tell you and give you my reactions to some of the best parts. So starting off with part one and two. I basically felt like this was like how he came up. It was kind of like an unsung expo about, how he came to be, and, how the nigga brains wasn't there. So he saw he had talent. So he just clinged on to that more than anything, which is very worrisome to me because one thing about it, you can have as much talent as you want, but if you ain't got that mindset, then things can go very, very wrong in a lot of different ways. And you have all these mentors. He had the teacher on there, which I felt like she just really wanted the baby to sing. She just really wanted this and that to happen, but somebody need to be there for him. Now, he said he was molested when he was younger. Now, I'm just gonna say this, and it may not be right, but just by how he's been acting from years out, I say it was like a male influence. It was an uncle or something that touched him, and later on, it's somebody who did say it was like a male dude that touched him or something like that. But I just felt like his molestation wasn't all the way, opposite sex related, because ain't no nigga going this much extreme as much as they is unless they, I just really feel that in my heart's a heart. And then I'm gonna say this has something to do with like all of them. But if you just look at it, when they say R. Kelly recruited and kept girls in rooms with buckets of that they could pee in and stuff like that, he never, every girl that he chose, they showed a clip of them singing and they could really sing. That's the Illuminati, and I feel like he was stealing voices and stealing talent and doing some demiology set, type stuff. But that's not even here nor there. But we just going I'm just gonna put that out there. If you look at the Pied Piper, he's taking their voices and keeping them locked up in rooms and demiology, and you still making all these hits and that everybody love. It's something about that. And then we get into the breakdown of the different girls. So the one that I want to focus on from like the parts one and two is the girl Sparkle. Now Sparkle, from the little background singer with the mustache, she says that she really did have like the whole talent, the range, and all that. Everybody knows it takes more than just talent and the range. You have to have like the X factor. You have to have this and that. And I think that's the only thing that Sparkle was missing, because she had like the attitude and stuff like that, but she still fell victim in bringing your niece. Like, you can't be around, I can't be around you that much in your house. And Sparkle says he saw how he treated his wife, and I still allow my 12, just her 13-year-old niece to come around you. That just don't, I don't know, that just don't make sense to me. Like, I have a couple of guy friends, it's just like they would do anything that has a hole, and I know that there's certain people I'm not gonna bring around to them. They good people, like everybody keeps saying, like he has a heart of gold and blah blah blah, this and that. You can have that, but you can also have messed up issues too, which I feel like you can see when you looking for it. And after it's been shown to you, you should be looking for that shit. So you talking about you want to get your 13-year-old daughter, not daughter, niece, on, and she raps with the king of R&B. Now I know it could be some connections there and all that, but like this nigga's R&B king. This nigga sings. He ooh yeah. And you want your 13-year-old rapping. Like, you ain't even ask for, like, who do you know in the field that I can get her with that's kind of in the same genre. You just put her in with an R&B person, and she's a rapper. I don't know. I don't know. Like, it's a lot of, like, things happen so quickly in real life that you be like, damn, I really should have just saw that right in my face. But you did not. And the fact that you would mess with R.Kelly, who you know messing with. Listen, I grew up in a house with 2 twin girls. And I know for a fact at around 13, 12, 14, you don't know how to your cootie cat is not properly cleaned and properly maintained. Okay? I don't know if you even have a pH balance yet. I don't know if it's balanced enough where you can have a pH balance. Like, just the smell, like, I don't understand it. So for you to have all this information and still allow that, me as a person who has never been through that, maybe people have, I can't get with that. So then we move on to parts 3 and 4. Now, parts 3 and 4 to me was telling of a guy who has done everything he can do, tried everything he can try, and now he's just making up stuff. Like, you supposed to be this big millionaire, you making all these plans and you doing all of this, but at the same time, you got houses full of, like, that shit cost. Like, my own granddad, he had 2 families. He had 3, but he had a lot of families going on, and he was just on like a basic nigga salary. So, just like having all that going on, like, your money finna run out real quick. So I know you had to keep dropping those hits and stuff like that, but it was just really telling to me, because in this 4th and 5th one, we find out about Dominique. Now, you took Dominique, very beautiful girl, very beautiful girl. You know, she was doing her little thing with the medical assistants or whatever it is, and you took her and you transformed her into Dominique. Oh, so you a freak. You turned this beautiful girl into a full-on handsome stud. And I want, where those tapes at, man? Where they at, though? Like, I'm trying to see, like, you done got into a whole nother atmosphere, which brings me back to that point that, you know, you doing too much with these females. You done passed out all the herpes and the killing diseases that you can, except AIDS. And now you're doing this. So you got your little boy toy on the side. Okay, all right. Wonder what kind of toys y'all playing with, but that's none of my business. I'm gonna leave that alone. But you got a little, you got a little situation going on with Dominique, and you got all that going on. So you're a freak. I found that out. Now, through all this, I'm not gonna lie, I have been an avid Aaliyah fan, and this is going back to like the first 2 parts and stuff like that, even though they mentioned her through the whole thing. When old girl with the mustache mentioned that she walked in, I was just like, no, not my angel Aaliyah. No, it cannot be. I would not accept this. It cannot be. But it was, and I had to accept that he came in. Now, also in 4 and 5, we get into the parent situation of it all. Now, we have Dominique parent, and I feel like she really didn't have no control over that. When folks get that age, I think we forget of how little control. Like, I know what I was in college at 17. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was out the house most of the time. I could have been doing any and everything, and nobody could have told me nothing. So we have to really get that out of our minds, like we really have control over people at that age, because they gonna do what they want to do. I mentor young boys, and some of them, they take heed and all that, and some of them like, you know what, I'm finna do what I gotta do, and I have to try to talk to them in a way that they understand, because they they got the mindset like nigga, I'm grown. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna do this and that. So I have to come to them a different way because it really literally can't happen where you 17. I'm from the South. 17 is the legal age for anything. So if your 17-year-old is talking to a 49-year-old, it's really nothing you can say. You can't call the cops. You can't do anything like that. They could be staying in your house and doing this and that, and no charges will be brought because that's just how it is. So we got to get out of that mindset and stop putting all the blame on the parent. Even if you raise somebody, they still have their own mindset. I was raised in a house. I'm the first person to graduate college in my immediate family and this and that. So I know at a certain point I had to stop relying on my environment or what was this and that, and I had to be my own man or be my own person and make my own decisions. So at that age, you literally can make your own decisions, especially here in the South. You know, so I don't blame her for that. But these other parents who literally took, like, if I'm going to an R.Kelly concert at this age of my life, I think I'm supposed to be the youngest person there, and I'm 30. Everybody else is gonna be older than that. I'm not gonna bring my niece to the R.Kelly concert. Not that I don't want her to get, I teach her the old ways and the old movies and all that type stuff and the old music. But if I know what I know, that I know, I'm not going to bring her there. Why? Why would I bring somebody who really is not adapt to the situation, who may be more, adapt to fall for things and get caught up in the glam? Why would I bring them there? And they don't even, I wouldn't even do that. So for that whole thing, and I know they love singing and stuff like that, but there's so many different avenues to get seen nowadays. In the last 9-10 years, it's Justin Bieber is a YouTube star. He came from YouTube. Like, all of these folks came from like SoundCloud and this and that. It is not the same where you got to find some old ass nigga who came out damn near in the 80s to be a hit or to get recognized like that, and they can't really do nothing to you. They still working with, Uncle Charlie and all these old ass artists. They can't bring who he brought in new. Who he brought in new. I think the newest thing that he maybe even had like a dap of anything was K Michelle. But K Michelle didn't even come K Michelle until she got on Love and Hip Hop, and that was outside of R. Kelly. So I don't understand how you could do that. And then talking about some guardianship and all this stuff with the parents. I fail to see how you don't have to be overprotective, but it's just like a certain thing where you let them know that this is not going on. I don't understand it. I really don't. So for their part, I don't want to blame the parents because people have their own avenue. I know people who are 16, 17, and they got their mind on so straight. And I know people who are 40 who are still trying to find themselves. So you could have just like literally been in like a blind sight of things, and I'll give you the benefit of the doubt because that's your daughter. That's your life. That's her life that you have to do. But I feel like we the thing about us, especially as African American community, we are not protective of each other like we should be. Like they said, if this was a white girl, it would have been on the newscast, would have been this and that. But as black people, we are just not as supportive and protective of each other as we should be. And this is brother to brother, brother to sister, mother figure to daughter figure, father figure to son figure, mentor, anything. We're just not as protective. And I think that's where we fall off and where our bond and our strength as a people kind of collide. Because you see, he was only trying colored girls, Latinos and stuff, and all of them had talent. Like, we have to look at that and see it was a reason for that. Because he knew if he got into that other stuff, it would be like just like detrimental to everything that he was doing, and he would be canceled completely as soon as that happened. So now I'm gonna talk about 6 and 7. Now 6 and 7, it was a little bit less, but I'm just gonna say this. I'm trying to find the patience and the trying to look at them in a victim status. But when you come to me and you 35, 36 years old, damn near 40, and you talking about you was abused by a nigga that you know abused people, and you've already even been in an abusive relationship, I have to wrap my head around it. Like I just said, that I know some very confident 17, 18-year-olds, and I know some 40-year-old fools. And I have to put you in that category because how you been living these, like, where your life been, where your growth been. You done grown, you done had these kids, you done did this and that, and you 35 freaking years old getting caught up in some R.Kelly mess, and this nigga's 52. Like, I really don't understand. And it's not like they was just like some girls he picked. One girl had a whole radio station, had a whole career, had a whole this. Like, where do your mindset have to be where you giving all of that up for him? Like, I really, really, really don't understand. It's mind-boggling to me, to tell you the truth, that like you weren't getting that much respect, or you weren't getting that much clarity, or anything about what you doing, because you 35 years old. You don't know some of the game. You ain't got to know all of the game, but even if you don't know it, you ain't got no best girlfriend or nothing like that to tell you, like, girl, no, I don't think that. Like, girl, you know when he be talking about some, you just saw the tape. Now, you older than me. By this time, you say you was 33. That was years ago. So you got to be about 40 something now. I was not even in my teenage years when it came out, and we was watching the tape. So you had to be at least in your teenage years where I know you was watching the tape. What is you talking about? I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming you, because things can get, very, dicey and stuff out there. I understand when somebody got that pimp game and that hand strong, but you should have just been a little bit more aware. And they talked about how he had certain girls, like the girls that he knew he could control and manipulate because they was just so desperate and stuff like that. Some girls he just brought over to the house and stuff like that because they weren't going that much. You could at least been one of them girls that weren't going that much and knew what it was and be like, okay, well, I like that I'm with a R. Kelly, I'm with a top R&B legend and stuff like that, but I'm not gonna be one of these girls pissing in no room and no bucket and shit for you. I'm just gonna be this and that. But you couldn't even be that. You moving in the house like the 17-year-olds and the 15-year-olds. Like, that's where I don't, like, you really, really that desperate. Damn. Now, this nigga just had a birthday and he 52 years old. Like, I don't know if he on Viagra or what, but like, that's just too much. Like, that shit is cool in your 30s and your 20s and maybe even in your mid 40s, but like, you 52, nigga. Find a Bible and sit down. Get you a church home. Save your money. You done wasted all your money. Done lost the Atlanta house. You're doing too much. And then they canceling your tours. You need to be thinking about you. You got kids. You got an ex-wife. And you need to just like minimize your life and get it closer to God. Or get it closer to somebody, because you're just really doing too much. This documentary was very eye-opening. Now the conversation has moved to whether we're going to cancel R. Kelly's music as a whole. Now I work with people that I know was in the KKK and stuff like that, and I don't have to say much to you, but I'm going to let you work and I'm going to work. And that's all I'm going to say about this situation, because your boss may be somebody you don't like. You may be LGBT and they may can't stand it and got a whole hate group. Is they gonna stop your check from coming in? No. They're gonna stop you from going to work? I don't know. Just think about that. Now, for me, I don't know. I separate everybody from anything because I don't condone drug dealing and all that or drug using. But most of our artists are on cocaine. They on this. They on all this type of stuff. So you have to look at all of that when you're talking about canceling somebody. Now, he has been a predator. Going forward, no, he should not, get paid off of his shows and stuff. But thank God he was somebody who couldn't read and all that. So most of like the royalties and stuff that you get when you listen to him as a performer, he doesn't get paid for that. Does it make it good? Does it make it bad? No. But I also feel like you can't, this documentary is very powerful, but you cannot dismiss what he's done or dismiss the last 25 years of life and living and all of that as well. You really can't. And I know some people will agree with me, some people will not. Everybody have their own. I don't feel like anything dealing with like controlling people is right or anything like that. Y'all tell me, can you depict the man from the music, or the music is so tied into the man? Let me know.